bounce house, Tom Harley.
Well, contested possession clearances there. They're getting the ball inside their forward 50. Just need to be more efficient. Need some clunks from Big Taylor Walker.
Well, the Swans, who have been troubled by Adelaide, are troubling Adelaide right now, and they work it forward. O'Keefe inside 50 quickly. Terrific pick-up in the end. The give was good. Morton back to Pike, now to O'Keefe. He'll go to the left, ducks inside, runs into trouble. Onto the right boot in the end. McVeigh flirts. He tries to get around the front. Kennedy is there. Shaw, desperate in the end. Can he get the handball in? Dangerfield just watches on as he gets smothered up.
What they do really need, Basil, on top of that is just some sure ball use. I mean, it's an opportunity to take control of the tempo of the game. The Swans are really dictating the way the game's being played. Early in this quarter, get your hands on the footy, use it well, be efficient.
So ball bounced, Mumford down in front, high ball from O'Keefe. Umpire called it not 15. Morton, he's been a live wire. He throws it on the left boot. Oh, just offline. What a start that would have been for the Sydney Swans.
Just scraped the post too, Baz, so he is causing some damage down there. When I say that, he's really keeping a Adelaide player very much occupied, so they can't fall off their direct opponent.
So McKay chooses himself and then just runs the long ball. Tippett's got the sit. Mumford in front. Got hands onto it. McGlynn just chases Hutt Hanbury. He got there first. Bird desperate. Thompson equally so. And Vince quickly the bouncing ball. It just heads in the Van Berlo direction. He couldn't get clean possession without a heap of hassling. Poor pleasure good. Now Petrenko's on the wrong side. Shaw. He watched on, and again Smith brilliant.
Smith is... He was missing last week. He's an absolute beauty. He's a very quiet achiever, but just gets his fist in the right position at the right time. Great player.
Tough, no-nonsense footballer. And again, he stopped the Crows going forward. Hanbury quickly around the corner. Rutten, he's been doing it a long time, defending for the Crows. And he needs to be brilliant in this last half. Well-weighted ball.
Interesting what you say there as far as Rutten goes. He stood inside. Pike stood to the boundary side, which is just not on as a forward.
Brodie Smith with the footy in his hands. That was his view. You could see it pretty clearly. Matthew Wright now has got the ball. Close to the line. It's a wobbly one in the John Cock direction. Arm maybe being held by Nick Smith. Umpire said play on. Doughty trying to crash his way through. Well done, Petrenko. Got it. Gave it off. Well, eventually he gave it off to Van Berlo, but it falls Reed's way. Morton, clever handball. Here's Adam Goods again. He's been so busy. The pop kick over the top to McGlynn, superb. They can keep going. Here's Jack from right on the 50. Sends it towards the hot spot. Free kick, McKay. Against McVeigh, wrestling. He was probably just caught out of position. The kick didn't best favour him, and in the end, a pretty simple decision for the umpire.
Yeah, wasted a bit though, wasn't it, McVeigh? He just probably hold his own, bring the ball to ground, Baz, would have been a different result.
Sloan, who was so brilliant against the Swans in round 6. He and Dangerfield had that monster second half. They'll need to do it this afternoon. Poor pleasure. He goes forward. It's going to be hard work for Walker. And the bounce beats all players.
Just need to put some real speed on the game. Hamish, at the moment, it started looking like a one-on-one game all over the field, and Swans haven't been able to orchestrate a free man back, and saying that Marty Mattner's setting up now.
Oh, yeah, Mumford, free kick. Mumford, free kick. Shane Mumford, yes. Right out, Scott.
Yeah, he got caught behind and just gave the free kick away. It was a free kick all the way.
So O'Keefe's long ball just tumbles out. Tommy, you think it needs to happen in this third term? They need to get within, what, 10, 15 points at the last change?
Yeah, they just need to put some speed on the game, Hamish. The great advantage of having a home crowd is when you play really exciting football. Get some speed on it, get the crowd involved. They've got one-on-ones in their forward line now. Just get it in there deep.
Well, they try and do that now. Shaw does well, holds Douglas up, and then Sloan under immense pressure. Gets the kick away. Walker, can he beat Richards? Did well in the end. Back to Douglas. Douglas has got Tippett long. One out. Tippett. Front spot. Well, his front spot against his man, but Johnson just floated across the front and saves the day for the Swans. To Shaw, he pulls the kick to McVeigh. The Swans again have the answers.
Just superb defensive work from the Sydney Swans at the moment. Johnson, brilliant. Now the kick into the middle of the ground, not ideal. It falls Sloan's way. It was away from Kennedy. Here's Dangerfield. Can kick a long goal. He's kicking forward. Not bad. bad either. Not quite the mark for Paul Pleasure. Very close, and then Alex Johnson just peels off calmly as you like, delivers to Shaw.
And yet we've hardly seen a ball go inside the front 50 for Sydney, but you just feel that they've still got control of the game, and very much control of the game.
Shaw called to go. He's a brave man. He doesn't mind going into the corridor with the defensive kicks, and that's what happened there. Richards back to Shaw, trying to find a way up the middle. In the end, he uses Roberts-Thompson. Walker doing the chasing. Good kick out in front of Jetta, and now Jetta's got the ball. Only one man between him and a lot of space. He doesn't take them on, but the kick excellent to Morton. And he is providing a real target, Mick.
Absolutely. He's got great class. The reason why clubs have gone off him, his workload has never been high, but I think he may have learned a real valuable lesson with Sydney.
Adam Goods almost rutting in there to save the day, and in fact he's won a free kick. The umpire...
You got him high. Against you.
Is that the first time this quarter? I think the ball, or second time, it's gone in the front half for Sydney. But they're making scoring so hard. When Adelaide go forward and they see the loose player, they pull up the kick. Whereas Sydney, if they see a loose player, it doesn't matter. They'll kick the football in there and make a contest of it, and then get the numbers there. That's the difference in the two sides at the moment.
Dangerfield right, Douglas. It's spilled over. So it's a low-scoring grind in the second qualifying final. The prize enormous. Win and a home preliminary final, and then you're just 4 good quarters away from a ticket to the last game of the season. Sloane just knocks it inside. Thompson desperate again.
Well, further to your point, Mick, just before we saw the disposal efficiency flash up, 71% to 67 in favour of the Swans. They've looked more assured with ball in hand, without a doubt.
Well, you come in and grabbed it.
Very stiff there. No one can get rid of that football.
All the players on the broadcast side of the ground. Tippett.
This is when the pressure goes onto a young side. We're expected to be in front. We're trailing. We've got to do something special. That for Tippett, it had to be a miraculous mark. Otherwise, it was always going to be a free kick. So the experience of Sydney is actually showing out at this stage.
Pike front spot. Reid ended up with it. Looked over the top. Saw Bird. Tried to find him. Thompson desperate. Rutten Smith. Now to Shaw. Had to go on the left foot. His right doesn't work as well as the left, and brought himself into trouble and smothered.
I know Basil said it before, but the smothers in this game are enormous, the numbers. It'd be interesting to see what they are, but it's just a finals type game that creates this sort of environment.
Sloane controlled that beautifully with the back of the hand. The Royal Adelaide show on at the moment. That was like something out of Sideshow Alley. Brilliantly done. He kicks it forward. John Cock. And now Tippett releases John Cock with a handball. They need a little bit of magic. Something special. Walker got his hands up in front. Couldn't mark. Douglas, the recovery good. Did Johnson get him high? He kicks back towards the line. Bouncing ball. Well done, Nick Smith. Took it on. He handballs forward. And here's Jetta. Lewis puts it down. He's got Petrenko chasing. Good chase by Petrenko. Forced the kick. A wobbly ball towards Mumford, who handballs in front of Bolton. Didn't sit for him. McGlynn, though, a chance to mop up. Runs away from Riley. Ben McGlynn, outside 50, sends it high. Reid couldn't quite mark. Ball on the deck, still there to be won. Here's Morton. He's been terrific. Handball, well blanketed, and in the end, Thompson got in the road and won a very important free kick.
Really important free kick. Amazing workload there by Jude Bolton running down the wing. He got an unkind bounce, but showing the professional, ruthless competitor he is. He didn't give up. He followed the ball inside forward 50, but gave away the free kick.
And Sloane has given Adelaide some real life around the packs too. He's had 5 possessions already in this third term.
You go back to Vince getting a hand in there and intercepting, and suddenly the Crows have got the ball on the wing. Doughty, can they get the next to the Crows? The Swans have had all the answers from late in the first term until now. Beautiful ball. Walker's the target, and Walker's found.
Is that pace you're looking for, Tom, through the corridor?
Spot on. I mean, they've been a good side this year with players like Dangerfield, and Tim mentioned Sloane before, just getting speed on the game. We know Paul Pleasure uses the ball well. To get your home crowd up and about, you've got to play exciting football, and we're just starting to see a bit of a twist here for the Crows.
Walker kicked 5 straight against Sydney in round 6. You think he'd need to kick 4 or 5 this afternoon. He has 1 next to his name, 1 goal, 1, and the local crowd are praying for a second to be registered right now. It's offline from the get-go. Never looked likely.
Bad miss. And Brenton Sanderson goes to the phone. He hangs it over the left shoulder. It's a little hopeless, the position from the coach's box, but here's McKay on the turnover to punish Sydney. Another opportunity goes begging, and the Swans let off the hook twice inside 30 seconds.
Tom, I said to you early on in the season, early on in this game, how many people are inside the front 50? It's just rare that you have that many numbers crowding out that area.
Yep.
So Shaw quickly to himself, and in the redirection he flew it, spills. Bird is at the fore of the ball, ignores Kennedy, sends it into the middle. Smith too hot for him, good for Jetta. Now back to Bird. Malcheski's got a runner wide and uses him. Johnson waits for it. Not a lot going on forward. They hold it up for the moment. The short ball comes again to Jetta. Malcheski was good with the short ball over the top. They just wait for the right options at the moment. Sydney now the long ball. Goods, he's got a one out. Goods couldn't quite. Used his body well. McGlynn's short ball could have almost gone for home in the end there. They work it back inside. Tough for McGlynn. Goes hard at the football. And Sloan, though, last line, almost got it out of trouble. Back to O'Keefe. What can they conjure here, the Swans? Kennedy. Hard ball now. Goods over the top. Back it comes to Kennedy. Van Berlo's tackle, brilliant. O'Keefe around the corner. Another smother. And the boundary line, it wins the day.
Smothers 8 each. Oh, that's an extraordinary figure in any games of football. If you had 8 for your whole game, you'd be patting your players on the back. It's 8 each already.
The next goal so big, Sydney, you get the feeling, could really hurt Adelaide, and the Crows have been there. They're hanging on. They're trying to get something started. Which way will it go? Walker, handball backwards to the skipper. A bouncing ball for John Cock.
Starting to win the really important contest here, Baz. Those last couple now, just get the ball inside 50.
Played that brilliantly, but then when Wright was on, he went further inboard to Walker. Richards had him holding the ball.
Yeah, well done, Ted Richards. Played it very, very well. Didn't give away the free kick, but just did enough to make sure that Taylor had to drop the football. Sorry, Walker had to drop the football.
Matthew Wright was loose further up the boundary line. Should have gone that way. Perhaps too Walker conscious. Here's Shaw, a wide one, and that'll go out of bounds. And that will be perfect for the Sydney Swans.
Well, they'll be happy to go in goalless as long as Adelaide don't kick any goals. And it gives it, then it's a massive effort.
Kirky.
Adelaide have done real well to really stifle the run out of the back half of the Swans, and here they are now taking the game on.
Have a look at this, the 2 fastest men on the ground. Dangerfield gets run down, and the ball spills. Well, Dangerfield chased Jetta down earlier in the day, and now it's the reverse roles. Just blistering speed from both players. Jetta's tackle, fabulous. And the Swans, they work it back to Jetta after he'd done the chase. It settles in the end. A quick spiralling ball. Riley couldn't affect it as he would have liked. Bird at the fore of the ball, crashing through Riley. Now to Sloan, back to Rye. Riley the looping handball. They need something soon, the Crows. The Swans, though, continue to answer the challenge. Morton long ball. Goods, the one out with the youngster. Over the top it goes. Well done, Taylor. He held Goods up. Allowed McKay to run. He went back, got the ball, and chooses Petrenko, who gets there and then fumbles at the very last minute.
Great balance there by McKay. It really was a terrific kick and great effort by Petrenko. Talia, the defender there, doing a good job on Goods. Crows got it. Capitalise on this momentum. They're starting to win the really crucial ones.
The pressure now so immense. Nearly 14 minutes gone in this third term. Adelaide 2 behind, Sydney 1 behind. We haven't had a goal. And we've said it before, we'll say it again. Next goal so vital. Sydney's way, you reckon they're just about there. And Adelaide could start something massive for them. And the ball now with an experienced player marked by Josh Kennedy.
Almost gone 12 minutes of actual time without a goal. This is playing right in the hands of Sydney.
Yep.
And they've both gone in 6 and 5 times respectively. That's the home side and the away side. So what's happened here is Sydney have really closed it right out on them.
Well, they won a hard ball there, the Sydney Swans, but it might turn over yet. Vince, he's got it. When Sydney look to be on the attack, Dangerfield's handball backwards to Sloan. They pushed him right back to defensive 50. Not a bad result in the end, but Callanan has marked. Now he's got some space to operate in. Walker and Richards, that's the contest the football's going to. Walker, it was a tough one for him. At his ankles, half volley. Richards on the ground, gives it to Matner. He sinks the left boot into it. It was touched, or did it bounce? Falls to Jetta. Now to Hanbury. And running through the middle of the ground is Malcheski, the kick towards Morton. He's had 5 disposals in this third term. Oh, dangerous one, Thompson. How was the disposal? OK, said the umpire. And Brodie Smith gives it to John Cock.
To right, and they run, and a bounce. Tippett's on the lead. It goes in that direction. Again, an unbelievable spoil from behind. Richards playing out of his skin and through to McVeigh. The Swans on the bounce again. Time for sure. Ball settles. Bounce over the top. Now Jetta, he was missed. The Crows must manufacture something here. The Swans, they lead. The Crows on the outer side through Sloan go forward. Long ball in the end, too hot for Callanan.
How often on a dry day of football would you say 2 points to 1 point in 15, nearly 16 minutes is pulsating football? But that is what we've got here this afternoon.
And some of the disposal is just not up. Like Reece Shaw there, he had players forward 20 metres and then 150 metres and coughs it up. This is allowing Adelaide to stay in the game, I believe. I think Sydney have got full control of this match.
So the message, Mick, to the Swans, keep calm and carry on.
Oh, they don't need to say that, because they know how to play calm football, because this is the way they've played their football for probably since Paul Roos took over as coach and John Longmire's following up, really. They're the masters at it.
A must goal for the Crows. It must be next, you suggest. Bolton desperate as always. Spills to Reid. Tackle ferocious from Van Berlo. He was on Hanbury. Kennedy around the place, couldn't take it. Doughty could. Again, the quick kick, partially smothered. Work to Jacobs, and now to Doughty. He had about half a second. And quickly they go through the middle now. What can they manufacture, the Crows? Smith over the top to Callanan. He's got a bit of space. He hits Walker, and Walker marks.
That is a great effort by Big Tex Walker. He is out on his legs. It's been an unbelievable contest. Ted Richards has really lifted his game, but under huge duress, need to capitalise here. This is going to be a really tough kick, because he will be blowing harder than he probably ever has before. His work rate's been outstanding, but the Crows need to capitalise here. They're throwing everything at the Swans at the moment. Really good kick here by Callanan, just dropped it in.
There's not many minutes left of this quarter. This is why this is so vital, this one, to bring them back. You wouldn't want to be trailing by 4 goals at three-quarter time with Sydney. I believe there's slight engine in the wind.
Well, this to make it 3 goals. Walker unloads, and he delivers raw. The crowd behind the goals were up early. It faded late. Walker was running to the bench thinking he'd kicked the goal. The result, the Crows have kicked 1 goal, 6 from set shots. The Swans, 4 straight. And there is the tail of the tape. 2 posters for Adelaide, 1 for the Swans. They bring it in. And that's a good kick. Alex Johnson in the back pocket, happy to slow things down. 18 minutes now. 18 minutes in this third term, and we have not had a goal. Pike, big mark. And I think we're getting a look here of Sydney just being prepared to take as much time on each possession as possible. They know that the Adelaide challenge is coming. They're trying to weather it. Jack almost. Doughty now. Morton, he's been superb. We've sung his praises. And they're going to fight a bounce, are they? Umpire in the cold chisel position, standing on the outside looking in, comes in and says, I'll bounce.
I reckon Sydney have played it well with Goods. They haven't really involved him too much up at the ball at this stage, so I dare say that he'll gather his strength by the last quarter and can be tossed into the middle. We know how damaging it can be around the middle.
Jacobs wins it against Pike, and Douglas gets on the end of a series of handballs to Tippett. No one inside 50. They start to stream back now. Van Berlo deep, he's ignored, and then suddenly red jumpers everywhere.
Well, Walker's off. If you're looking for him, he's not going to be there, so need to manufacture something else here. Callanan, Sloan, John Cock. It's going to be a smaller target.
Just under 4 minutes before the last change. If they can get it within 3 goals, this crowd will become a factor in the last term. The problem they've had all afternoon is kicking goals. 2 goals, 10. The Crows. A goal to Walker in the first and Van Berlo in the second. Is that No, John Cock not quite. Here's poor Pleasure. Couldn't take it cleanly. Kennedy could. Gave it off to Bird. Bird feeds it to Reid, who's a long way from inside 50, to Jack Thompson. Again desperate. Hanbury at ground level as always. And the tackle brilliant from Rutten. Here's a chance for the Crows. We've got just on 3 minutes. And Mick Malthouse has said they must kick a goal before three-quarter time.
Doughty called to go. He sends it long towards half-forward Tippett. Was it there? It was poor Pleasure then. Callanan goes with a long one. Sloan at the back. And the ball fisted over the line. So Tippett wasn't involved in that contest. And there was 3-on-1. It forced, in the end, poor Pleasure to do the high flying. And that's going to suit Sydney as well, Tom.
Yeah, get on the move here, the Crows. They need to get busy. They're looking tired. Just get busy.
Jacobs, well done. He won it down, but Goods, handball out for McVeigh, who gathers. He thought about the kick, instead to O'Keefe. The experienced campaigners combining. Rutten, well done. He pushed off Mumford. It fell Mumford's way. Important handball, this one. How's it going to sit? Brodie, Smith. Jack now behind him. Jack kept his feet, maybe taken high. Big whistle, that one.
And that started in the back 50, 15, 20 minutes after a goal with Adam Goods getting that ball across McVeigh. He's been a marvel today, both ends of the ground.
Into time on now, and still no goals in this third term. Goods leads. It doesn't get there. McGlynn short of that contest.
Stark difference there, Baz. This has been a similar build-up to some of the forward entries the Crows have had, but they're more movement for the Swans. Players like McGlynn really charging for the ball.
So McGlynn just sets it up high. Mumford flies. O'Keefe from behind almost. Handball comes out Kennedy's way. Throws it on the boot. It's just offline. The handball came from Bird to Kennedy, and it's a behind only. And amazingly, it was 25 points at halftime, and it is 24 points Sydney's way, almost at three-quarter time.
It's remarkable. The last goalless quarter in a final, you've got to go back to 1966, a prelim final. The Saints, Naught, Essendon, Naught goals 5. Crows want to change that right now. Bouncing ball, ugly for Doughty. He goes and gets it, gives it to Walker. Walker gets away with it, tripped, advantage. McKay, long ball, Sloan short. Well, how does this suit Sloan? Pretty well. Can he get around and snap one? Listen to this. There you go. With 90 seconds to play, a goal is scored. And it comes from the cruelest of bounces if you're a Bloods fan, and a very generous bounce if you support the Crows. Here comes Cool Hand Luke. He's been dead calm all year. He's got a monster quarter to play.
That's a great result, not going through the long point. That's a strong, hard one-on win there by Batman Sloan. Got them back here. Needed reward for their effort, the Crows. If they can hold out here, even get another one, take some serious momentum going into this last quarter with the breeze.
Well, Adam Goods is behind the ball now, and I think they can smell that danger. They can't afford a goal against them, whereas Adelaide can't afford, of course, Sydney to get one either.
Less than 90 seconds to play in this third term, and a goal here either way, so crucial. Can Sydney get the quick reply? Bolton sends it long. Oh, that's a brilliant mark, Morton.
I'll pay that. That's he sort of got in between the two players, then got in front. That's just experience. He's a very talented player. If he can just get it all together, he could be such an X-factor through this final series.
The Swans have got an injury concern. Ben McGlynn's hobbled off, grabbing at his right hamstring. He actually kicked that free kick with his left foot. Parker's warming up. He's actually taken off the green vest. The substitute's been activated.
It'll be probably about time that you would make the change anyway, Kirky. I know McGlynn is a very good player. They wouldn't want to lose him, but this is fresh legs coming in just prior to three-quarter time.
Mitch Morton's had the footy a long time as Thompson goes off for some attention. 1 goal, 1 he's kicked. The late inclusion today. He came into this side just before the game began, in for Tommy Walsh. 1 goal, 1 today. This to give Sydney a 24-point lead, and Morton nails it. Well, 22.5 minutes for the first goal of the term, and then the very quick reply from the Sydney Swans. And you've got to say that may well take some of the sting out of the Adelaide charge. They were up and about, their fans were up and about, and what a grab in a pressure situation by a man who hasn't played a lot of football this season.
Oh, this you can see in his whole mind. I think he's only played his second game for the year at the senior level. What that means to him and also the Sydney Swans. Great pressure goal.
What a remarkable quarter. The first 105 kicks, no goals. The last 3 kicks, 2 goals. McVeigh works it wide. Bevan. What's left in the last half a minute? Matner onto the right boot, and he loves his left.
And still plenty of time. With 28 seconds, you can go end to end with 28 seconds, but you've got to do it against a very defensive, disciplined Sydney side. But Adelaide have worked so hard for that one goal.
So big last term coming up. A 4-goal lead right now to the Swans. And the time against the Crows right now as they try and work it. Vince just chooses Rutten in the middle. Bouncing ball. McVeigh did well to Hanbury. 7 seconds. And Goods will hold it up, you'd think. He doesn't know the clock. So the Crows win the term by a solitary point. At halftime, the Swans led by 25 points. At three-quarter time, the Swans lead by 4 goals. Stay with us. A massive last term coming up. Brenton Sanderson will be trying to urge the Crows home. Swans by 24 points at the last break.